We used to run accounts through single keyword ad groups or SKAGs. That's because the way that Google matching used to work is it would look at the actual letters and words in the search term and match that search term to, say, an exact match keyword, which is exactly the same as that search term. That would mean that you knew what that keyword would trigger in terms of searches precisely, and you can then set up that keyword in its own ad group, so it has its own ad copy, and you can uniquely tailor that ad copy to that specific keyword. And that would mean that, you have the same number of keywords as you do ad groups, and that also means you need to have a lot of campaigns in order to kind of get the granularity in the account. So that's how it kind of used to be. We started running into issues probably starting 2020, 2021.
Yeah, it was around then, wasn't it? It was all changed, or sort of the match types getting broader and suddenly everything's becoming kind of more messy.
You got the impression that Google didn't want to make SKAG best practice suddenly do really badly for all of the billions of pounds that big companies were spending on Google ads. It would have been pretty bad for Google's business if they just tanked it all. So it was a slow decline.
It was definitely a steady decline. So it's sort of just over time it gradually got sort of worse and worse until it just didn't really work properly anymore.
Yeah, and at the same time we would always run tests on. Google started talking about broad match. The future is broad match, and that was broad match was kind of a dirty word back in the old days of search.
Oh, for sure.
So Google kept on talking about, you need to start using broad match, otherwise you're going to struggle with your performance. So we would test it every so often. We say, let's test broad match, and it just wouldn't work that well. This is going back to sort of 2015, 2016. Broad match was just a joke. You'd use exact match and you'd use phrase match. Basically Google started changing the way that match types work from syntactic to semantic matching. So syntactic, what I was describing earlier, basically it's the individual letters and words as they appear, and semantic is to do with the meaning of those collection of letters and words. So it moved from matching to letters and words into meanings of letters and words, which started causing haywire. One of the reasons why we had to change our best practice was because you went from having this very neat, granular structure, individual keywords, individual ad groups. You started noticing that even on exact match, you would have a search term being picked up by a different keyword in a different ad group, and therefore showing non-optimized ad copy. Exact match used to mean that the keyword would trigger when exactly those letters and words in the same order would appear in a search. Like that keyword would get triggered when they appear in a search. Nowadays, with the semantic matching, it means that they have to match the same meaning in the search term as the keyword. So Google started to analyze the meaning of keywords and the meaning of search terms rather than just A, B, C, D, whatever. It would actually think, what does A, B, C, D mean, and how can I match it into other areas of this account? We think Google did it to make things easier for people. It was very much a nerdy game back then, and it still is.
Sure.
It still is nerdy, but in a different way. It's more nerdy on the data side. It was still nerdy back then on the data side, but we've just been applying our nerdiness to the data and analytics and getting the right data in there, because you have a lot less control over what you can match to. You can, if you really wanted to, you could still run an account in SKAG. You would just need to put in so many negative keywords to stop the cross-matching, and it's just not worth it.
It'd be almost impossible to manage, wouldn't it? You literally like millions of negatives to do it.